everyone, so we are going to be going over the counting divisors problems in your video notes, which is problem 6 and 7. Starting with the first problem, problem 6, how many divisors does 540 have? So first I should clarify what divisors mean. Divisors of 540 are numbers that 540 can be divided evenly into without any remainders. So 540 divided by x, and let's just say x is one of its divisors, is equal to some number, so I'll just say y is equal to some number y, and x times y is equal to 540, although we don't really care what y is. Y is also one of its divisors, by the way. But the important thing to note about this one is that there are no remainders. No remainders. That means that it divides completely evenly, and, based on what I wrote here, we also know that its divisor, a divisor of 540, is also one of the factors of 540. So first, to solve this problem, we are going to completely prime factorize 540. So 540 is equal to 10. I'm going to use a factor tree, by the way. 10 times 54, which is equal to 2 times 2 times, not 2 times 2 times 5, just 2 times 5. And 54 is equal to 2 times 27, which is equal to 3 times 3. So the complete prime factorization of 540 is equal to, 3 times 9, which is 3, 3. Is equal to 2 squared times 3 to the third power. So these are our 3's, these are our 2's, and this is our 5. So 2 squared times 3 to the third power times 5. So why did I completely prime factorize this? Well, in truth, finding the divisors of 540 and counting like how many divisors there are is just finding, how many different combinations of these numbers that we have. So, okay, I'll explain what I mean. So when we say that 540 is equal to these numbers, and we're looking for a divisor, that means that we are trying to find a number where 2 squared times 3 to the third power times 5 divided by x is equal to y with no remainders, right? So in order for this to be, fully divisible by x also has to be some combination of, it has to be some combination of these letters. So for example, here, I'll just explain it with an example. I'm aware that it is not the easiest thing to explain these concepts, and it's not the easiest thing to understand these concepts. So what I mean by that is that this is not divisible by 7. Because 7 is a prime number, and you just cannot divide them. You cannot divide them cleanly. Y would be equal to this mess. But if you had a number like 15, you try to divide it by 15, well, 15 is equal to 3 times 5. 3 times 5. So what you can do is just say, y is equal to 2 squared times 3 to the third minus 1 times 5 to the first minus 1. So you'll say that it's equal to 2 squared times 3 to squared. So in order for 540 to be divisible by x has to be one of its factors. And so, finding out how many different divisors that 540 has is the same as calculating how many factors that 540 has. And so in order to calculate the number of factors, well, we have to choose some combination of 2, 3, and 5. And so, for example, for the first option, for our 2's, well, we can either multiply our number by 2 squared, or we can multiply our number by 2 to the first power, or multiply our number by 2 to the 0 power. 2 to the 0 is equal to 1, by the way. So we have, in our multiplication, we have 3 choices. So for 3 to the third, we have 3 to the third, 3 squared, 3 to the first, and 3 to the 0 power. So that's 4 options. And then for 5, we have 5 to the first and 5 to the 0 power. And so that's not a 6, that's a 0. So now we have 2 options for the 5s. And so if we multiply them together, we get 24. 540 has 24 different factors, different divisors. So what does this mean? Well, basically you just completely prime factorize it and then add 1 to each of the exponents and then multiply that together to be able to find number of factors, number of divisors. And I really want you guys to understand why this works, because you have to understand that the factors of 540 is just, when you break everything down, this is all that 540 is composed of. And its factors, x and y, multiplied together has to equal this combination. Like if you factorize x and y, let's just say x and y is equal to 540. If you completely factorize x and y, you would also get this. So it makes sense that x and y would be some combination of this here. So that's our answer, 24. I will try to re-explain this with our second problem. This is problem 7. How many divisors does 1 million have? As usual, we are going to completely prime factorize it first. So we have 1 million. 1 million is equal to 10 to the 6th power, and 10 is equal to 2 times 5 to the 6th power. So its complete prime factorization is 2 to the 6 times 5 to the 6. And using what we learned before, well, we have completely prime factorized it, right? Our exponents are 6 and 6. So 6 plus 1 times 6 plus 1 is equal to 7 times 7, which is equal to 49. So 1 million has 79 divisors. And that makes sense, because if you're trying to create your factor, you have 7 choices to choose from in terms of 2, and 7 choices to choose from in terms of how many 5s you want in its prime factorization. Okay, I hope that made sense. We are going to review counting divisors and counting factors again in our number theory unit, which is next week. Yep. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the permutations video.